The profession of teaching, it's not necessarily been in the headlines for all the right reasons lately, but there is a bit of a trend in Victoria of people coming into teaching later in life after working in a different profession for a long time. And if this is something that you've even thought about doing, Ben Sacco, my next guest, is actually a former deputy principal. He now runs an education consultancy firm. Good afternoon, Ben.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. Tell me about the people that you are meeting that are moving in from one career into teaching. What is their motivation?
Yeah, look, motivation at times, listening to even some of your previous callers, is bringing that creativity and that fun and that skill set that they've learnt in the jobs that they've been doing into the classroom and giving back to young kids to do hands-on learning. It's just a fantastic way that they're seeing that's meaningful and becoming teachers as a result.
So are you seeing a lot more people being drawn to this now?
What the work that I get to do, I see a lot of people looking at the opportunity to transition at mid-career into education, and often they'll do certificates of training and assessment, and they'll also sometimes do education support work and really get in the classroom, and then they kind of, I wouldn't say fall in love with it. I think they're already connected to it. They just fall more deeply into the idea of giving kids hands-on learning experiences, and they've got experience themselves, so they're passing that on.
Do they have ideals about what it's like to be a teacher? I mean, we've all seen things like Dead Poet Society and, some of those films that kind of glamorise the profession, and being in the classroom can be a very different beast. How do you bridge that gap?
Yeah, spot on. It's different learning how to be a teacher or bringing sort of mid-career trade and industry background into even corporate sector experience into a classroom, because we're dealing with young people and the things that they're dealing with in today's modern classroom. But definitely seeing opportunities around how they can contribute, mid-career professionals contributing to building skilled, confident, capable young adults. It's an exciting time to be in education, separate to some of the things we hear. It's regrowth, regeneration. There's quite a buzz, irrespective of some of the challenges around critical teacher shortages, I must say.
So how do you actually go about making that transition to obviously there has to be a qualification, but are they choosing particular streams to go into? Would they match up with their previous experience, for example, maths or science, if you're in a kind of a STEM industry?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of the practical subjects at school, in, say, senior, in secondary college, whether it's home economics, the woodworks, the metalwork, it's STEM subjects. What you see is that specialist subject areas can pick up those skilled professionals who might have had a 30-year career doing incredible work, contributing to a wonderful Australian workforce, and then they're actually giving back, at that mid-age of around 50, still not wanting to retire, got more in them, and they choose teaching as a possible option to get young kids down a pathway that's just really beneficial to them.
I know you also work with schools and principals to make sure that they've got the right environment, because we've been hearing a lot about teachers leaving the profession. There's a lot of burnout in a lot of different ways. How can schools make it so that teachers do want to stay?
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on, and we hear about this often in the sector at the moment. If we look in isolation to just education, one of the critical ways to make teachers, to help teachers stay, not make, is to create the conditions where they feel connected to the work, the purpose of the work. Your callers mentioned this, right? The creativity, the innovation, the space, the autonomy. We've got to give those opportunities to our teachers who have the skill, but just need that space, because they're certainly motivated and they find joy in helping others learn. So that's a real leadership opportunity there for any principal in a school to create those conditions.
Are schools taking up the challenge?
Do you know what? The schools that I get to see, the leadership that actually see the potential in this are doing some incredibly great things. I know there was an article recently with the ABC, the career-changing tradies. I mean, that's a really good example of a progressive thinking principle, a community that sees buy-in. Fantastic to see these stories coming out in our sector. And those mid-career professionals, those tradies doing incredible work contributing to schools. That's what I mean. There's so many great bright spots happening in this, and particularly in Victoria, we're seeing a lot of that as well.
Ben, really good to talk with you today. Thanks so much for sharing a little bit of your expertise.
No, you're welcome. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Ben Sacco, he's a former deputy principal himself. He now is an education consultant. He talks to a lot of schools.